Alright, let's continue to the tutorial for the columns section under the Output Format tab. In this section, you will see the list of templates, general settings, the Add Column button, the column configuration panel, the column layout area showing how the columns will appear in the log, the footnote section, and of course the preview, undo, and redo options. The template list and the process for importing or creating new templates were already covered in the header and footer tutorial, so we will not repeat those here. Please refer to that tutorial for more information. Let's start with the General Settings panel. There are 4 tabs available in the General Settings panel: Default Title Style, Default Column Style, Line Properties, and Footnotes. When you click on any of these tabs, it expands to display the available options so you can edit them. The default title style controls how all column titles will appear. Instead of changing the style for each title individually, you can define the style here and apply it to all titles at once. For example, if we increase the font size and click Apply, you can see that all titles immediately update to the new font size. For this tutorial, let's set it back to font size 10. You can also customize the text by changing the color, fill, font style, and size. You can adjust the title alignment and apply formatting such as bold, underline, or italics. Additionally, there are 2 checkboxes here. Check this vertical title to display all titles vertically, or uncheck it to display them horizontally. This Delete Empty column will hide the column on the log if it has no content. To close the panel, simply click on each tab again. Next is Default Column Style. This works in a similar way, but it applies to the text inside the columns, not the titles. Here, you can modify the text style or the background fill for all columns. For example, if I change the fill color and apply it, you'll see that the background color for all columns changes immediately. Let's undo that change and close the panel. Now let's move to line properties. These settings control the lines shown in the column layout. For example, if I increase the line thickness and apply the change, the update is immediately reflected in the column layout. Footnotes work a little differently from the other settings. In this section, you can create 4 types of footnotes in GeoIlog: termination footnote, groundwater footnote, custom footnote, and text footnote. The termination and groundwater footnotes are automatically generated based on the data entered in the GeoIlog module. Note that only one of each of these footnote types can be added. For example, here we have a termination footnote. We can edit or delete the footnote. If we click Edit, we can modify the text and parameters. When writing the footnote text, you can insert parameters that automatically pull values from the project data section in the module. Parameters are identified using the @ symbol or by clicking this Add Parameter button. In the termination footnote, the available parameters are depth, type, and exploration ID. For example, if we write a footnote such as bottom of @type @exploration ID @depth, the software will automatically replace these parameters with the appropriate values. As an example, the log might display bottom of boring B1 at 20 feet. You can also adjust the formatting of the footnote text, such as font type, size or color, text alignment, and other styling options. After making changes, you can use the preview option to see how the footnote will appear on the log. The groundwater footnote works in a similar way, allowing you to include both text and parameter entries. In this case, the available parameters are groundwater depth and date, which are linked to the groundwater section in the module. If groundwater is not encountered, the software will automatically switch to the Without Groundwater footnote, where you can enter the message you'd like to display for that case. If multiple groundwater measurements are recorded in the module, the log will display multiple lines, each corresponding to a measurement that has been marked as included in the log. If you do not want a specific measurement to appear in the log, simply uncheck the Include in Log option in the module. Next is the Custom Footnote. This option allows you to add borehole-specific footnotes that are not automatically generated, as you can see from the note here. To add and style custom footnote, go to GeoIlog, General tab, and then navigate to Log Customization. Some basic styling options can be configured here, such as text color, fill color, and font settings. However, the actual custom footnote text is entered in the GeoIlog module. To do this, go to the GeoIlog tab, then open the General tab, and navigate to Log Customization. When using a template that includes a custom footnote, a field will appear where you can enter and format the custom footnote text for each borehole. Let's go back to the column section. Finally, we have the text footnote. This is a simple static text that will appear on every log page. It is commonly used for disclaimers or other standard notes that should always be included. Now let's move on to the next section where we will add a column. To add a column, simply click Add Column. If there's enough space in the layout, the column will be added immediately. If the layout is full, the software will ask whether you want to create a new column by reducing the width of the existing columns proportionally. Each column starts with a default elevation parameter, but this can be changed by expanding the drop-down under the Parameter tab and selecting from the available options or using the search function. For example, you can search for groundwater and the groundwater level parameter will appear. You can also modify the title text if you want it to be different from the parameter name. Title style options include text color, fill color, font, alignment, and other formatting options. And the column style, which applies to the content in the column, not the title. Under the Other tab, you will find additional options. You have vertical title and delete empty column checkboxes. These work the same as those under the default title style, but here they apply only to the selected column. And you have this Show Unit checkbox, which controls whether units are displayed in the column title. Some columns also have special configuration options, which are included under the Other tab. For example, in the Description Classification column, you can choose to display the groundwater symbol directly within the description column. Some firms prefer this instead of using a separate groundwater level column. Groundwater symbol can also be displayed in the elevation, depth, and material hatch columns. You can also check Carry Over Description to repeat the description of the last stratigraphy layer at the top of the next page. For columns with numeric fields, such as elevation, a decimals option is available to control the number of decimal places displayed on the log. For the sample symbol column, there is a stretch to fit option. When checked, the sample symbol will stretch to cover the entire thickness of the sampling interval. You can also add multiple sample symbol columns. For each column, choose whether to include all samples by checking this box or uncheck it to display specific sampling types. For example, bulk samples in one column and split spoon and modified California samples in another. The symbols shown are based on what is selected under the symbol column in the GI log module, Samples tab. For field test parameters, you can choose between numeric and chart display options. Numeric mode displays the values directly in the column, while chart mode displays them as a chart. In chart mode, you can customize the chart appearance, including axis text, line color, line thickness, line style, symbol type and color, and whether to display numeric values on the chart. For field blow counts column, you also have the option to display the N value, which is the sum of the second and third blow counts. You can also choose whether the blow counts are shown in line or stacked vertically. If you want to display only the N value or N60, you can add a column for blow count N or blow count N60. In these columns, the display position can be set to top, middle, or bottom, corresponding to the start of the test. 6 inches or 15 centimeters below the test depth or 12 inches or 30 centimeters below it. Finally, let's look at the column layout area. Adjusting column widths is very simple. You can either drag the column borders or enter an exact value in the width field for more precise control. You can also adjust the title row height by dragging the horizontal line. If you want to create a group title for several columns, simply hold the Shift key and select a range of columns. A group title will automatically appear. You can then edit the title text as needed. If you no longer want the group title, you can delete it. Just note that this option removes only the group title, while this option deletes both the group title and the columns beneath it. You can also create multiple levels of group titles and organize the columns in a variety of ways depending on your reporting needs. For example, if you want to create a group title for these 2 columns and then a main group title that includes this group and a third column, simply select the group, hold Shift, and click on the third column. And with that, we reach the end of this tutorial for the columns section. Thank you for your time and attention.